Mark Reese also.
Mark, both Marks.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
exactly.
Mark. Okay, I can remember that.
So what made you want to come to a school like Mullen?
I had never heard of Mullen. What I knew was I was coming to Denver to promote a show, which is my show. And we talked about doing radio and newspaper and television. And then they said, well, what about coming to a school? Well, when I was in high school, I was the student body president of my high school. And I remember being excited when people would come and talk. So anytime I get a chance to talk to people like you guys and kind of interact, for me, that's what I was just telling Allison, the reporter. That's one of the perks. So as soon as I saw that on the itinerary, I was like, oh yeah, I want to come and talk to the kids, because at some point, you guys are either going to be lawyers or journalists or professionals, and you may be able to say, you know, I remember this person in high school, and more importantly, then it will be up to you as a professional to come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's how this whole, if everyone goes, you know, I don't want to deal with those kids, I don't want to be bothered, well, then that perpetuates itself. But if everyone says, you know what, I remember being young, I remember being like, what do I want to do with my career? And so if one person here was like, I'm going to think about that, then as great as it is to be here to promote the show, that for me, I can get on a plane and go, okay, that was good. You know, because you guys are either going to watch the show or you're not. But in terms of what we talked about here, you know, I don't know if you knew about law versus, you know, attorney and misdemeanor. So now, at least when you're hearing these things on the news, you can go, okay, I got a point of reference. So for me, that's a good thing.
What advice would you have for kids like us who may want to go into law?
That, what advice would I give for people who are interested in law? One of the young men, he was asking me, he said, your experience has been pretty unique, and you would have to admit that most people would not have your journey. And so hearing that, what that was telling me was, I may be interested in doing the same thing, but it's unlikely that I would be able to. And I'm a firm believer of whatever you believe, that's your truth. So if I'm here to somehow inspire somebody else to either be in television, be a lawyer, you know, pursue some of these things, I was supposed to be here for that person. And for someone who just wasn't willing to receive it, that may mean that you're just not really to receive it today. But it may be like years from now, they go, you know, I remember there being some discussion about law, because sometimes different people, it clicks at different times. But for me, the biggest thing that I wanted you all to know is the importance of education, because I couldn't do any of this without an education. And what I'm seeing is that people who decide education is not for me, there usually is an economic price to pay for that. And if you're in a position of understanding why you have to get good grades, and why you have to be ambitious, and why you have to also give back, I hope that's what you all got out of me being here.
How do you think your show can help high school kids like us?
I think that anytime you can watch something and be entertained by it and learn something about life, because at some point in your journey, you are going to have to come to court. You're either going to come to court on a traffic ticket, or someone sues you, or you sue them, or let's just say someone in your family dies, and so there's an estate, the court has to work that out, or you're called as a juror. Our American jurisprudence, the justice system, touches everyone. And the way that you can really feel a connection to it, for me, is to be able to see a show and laugh at it and go, that's crazy, but also take away, oh, okay, if someone hits me and if I'm in a car, I need to make sure I bring 3 estimates. I need to make sure that I've got my witnesses, or I got a notarized statement, because otherwise, how would you know that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, that's an opportunity for you all to even just learn basic things about how to prepare and how to handle and how to present yourself. Yeah.
So Mullen encourages its students to help, like, in the community and with the underprivileged, and I understand you did that during your time in the district attorney's office.
I did. I spent a lot of time going to, well, there's one program in particular, because there was a gang problem there. And we had decided that we were going to target the gangs and basically run them out of the community. Well, it would have been very easy for me to just focus on the gangs. But part of my focus was also, let's deal with the young people in the community. So I taught a 5th grade class every week. And we talked about legal concepts. And we talked about some of the things we talked about here today, and then I would have them be attorneys and be the defense attorney, and I would make them argue. And at the end of that period, we brought them to my court and actually had someone put on a robe and had the court reporter and them all play their roles, and we let them actually see themselves as really being the prosecutor, really being the, because some of you may have parents who, maybe lawyers, but for a lot of people who've never been exposed to that, you don't want the first time them coming to court is because they're like this in shackles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want their first experience in court to be pleasant, and oh wow, this is a learning opportunity. So, yeah.
So, final question.
Final question.
And this is a good one. Should kids like us watch your show or do our homework?
I don't think it's an either or, because kids like you all have the ability to watch television in ways that I didn't have growing up. I've got 2 kids, and they're not home to watch the show, but they see clips on YouTube. My show's on Netflix. My show, you can go to the America's Court website and see little clips. And so for me, that's very cool that you all could, you could be at lunch and go, well, let me catch the latest episode of this. So if anything, I hope what you all get out of it is, wow, okay, I think I'd like to do that. Because aside from just what I do on camera, there's probably about 60 people who work on my show. And I think, and actually I wish I had talked about that, because there's the person who does my makeup. She gets paid a lot of money to do everyone's makeup. There's the person who picks out the clothes. There's the person who builds the sets. There's the person who serves the food. There's the security. There's the camera people. There's the producers. There's the director. So when you count all those, and then there's the other people that are involved in the actual, the litigants. So there's all these jobs just on one show. So you multiply that by all the shows that are on television, and you can see why entertainment is such a big industry. And in California, it's one of the top industries, entertainment. And my show is seen in South Africa. It's seen in the UK and in Honduras and the Caribbean, because the country is interested in Americans, whether it's our culture or our music or our lifestyle, and people spend money just to watch me do these cases.
Great.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Mark, it was a pleasure.